Hey guys, welcome back to Face Noir. It's been a while since I played this, and I don't mind playing this at the moment, so we're gonna play it.
It's Greta.
Do I remember what the hell I'm doing? No.
Greta's handkerchief. I'd better wash it before I return it. My blood's still on it.
You.
It's adored. One of the two horns that Sean always carried with him. He looks like he's in a deep sleep. He looks like he's...
Wake the fucker up.
My gun. I bought it when I got my private investigator's license, but I stopped carrying it with me almost immediately. It's just dead weight.
I know a few people who would argue against that.
Did you take me for one of those guys who shoots at every little thing? The joint's telephone.
Hello, New York operator. I'm listening.
Can you...
What's the...
I...
Whatever you want.
Bye. It's Chan's cab. No, I just want to go to sleep now.
Oh, okay.
Slavansky is in the porter's lodge. He's...
Good evening, Daniel.
Hi, Slavansky.
I guess you got my letter.
Yes, thanks for your kindness.
Okay, so you know I'm not joking. And I heard about your mishaps tonight. It was definitely a bad night for you.
Where'd you get this information from?
I always know everything about my rent. I like to know what people who live in my apartment are up to.
Right. No vested interest there.
Exactly, Danilo. If you want to avoid any unfortunate problems, I suggest you pay me that back rent you owe me. I wouldn't want anyone call police tonight and tell them some bad things about you or your habits.
Are you threatening me?
Absolutely not. But to be safe, you could pay me what you owe me.
I already told you that I'll pay you next week.
Heard that old story too many times, Daniel. I want my money now.
Damn Russian skinflint. Here's your money.
Okay, De Niro. This way we can get back to our pleasant owner-renter relationship, huh?
Keep the money, and your pleasant relationship.
Anyway, I want to show you my loyalty to renters. I find out about your misadventures from police detective.
A police detective?
Da, one Ballard. He woke me up in middle of night to ask about you. And when he found you weren't here, he asked to see your apartment.
Did you let him in?
And of course, I don't have any intention of upsetting police to protect a renter who always pays late like you, Del Niro.
Tell me about this police detective.
What do you want to know?
What kind of guy was he?
He introduced himself as Detective Ballard of State Police. He was pretty tall, had dark skin, was well dressed. He spoke kind of funny, seemed like a foreigner.
What did he do when he went into my apartment?
And I don't know, he wanted to go in alone, but he was quick. He seemed unhappy when he left.
Dannazione. Malone is trying to frame me. Who knows what that guy was hoping to find in my apartment? I'm not interested in anything else.
Good.
Why isn't the heat working?
Problems with boiler. It doesn't want to turn on.
Did you call a technician?
Nah, technicians are good for nothing and want much money. Boiler is solid. A few adjustments, it'll be like new.
Until it breaks down again next month. Goodbye, Slavonsky.
Goodbye, Del Nero.
What a lovely man.
A map of Italy. I'll go back there one day. The only useful thing on this shelf is the New York phone book. Useless papers in useless boxes. Documents, an ashtray, and tape. This calendar is from a few years back. It's an old... The only suit... A manifesto from Clito, in Calabria, the city where I was born. Documents. Mop and pail. Perfect for a housewife. Just a stack. Boxes. My homemade photo. I developed my own photographs. The last red light bulb I had blew up last week, and the place where I usually buy them doesn't open until tomorrow morning. My homemade. I developed the last red. When I rented this apartment, this thing was already there. It's kind of broken, but I didn't pay for it. My 20 square feet of bathroom with my $16 a piece ceramic sanitary ware. All the cases I've ever worked.
Okay, so then what was he looking for? Whatever, I guess it doesn't
A
matter.
fold away. A few hours of sleep should get me back in shape.
While Emily is asleep in the cabin, I sneak for a smoke on the deck of the boat. We'll be off to Canada soon, leaving New York, Professor Zindler, and this whole mess behind us. We made it. We're safe, I think. But the barrel of a gun between me shoulder blades makes me think otherwise. It's the Turk. He found us. With a sleight of hand worthy of a surgeon, he slides his hand over me holster, puts on the safety, and takes me gun. He pushes the gun into me back and starts talking with that horrible accent of his. He's talking about something, but I'm not listening. I'm too focused on finding a way to get out of this situation. But I can't think of anything. If I make one false move, the Turk will pump my gut full of lead. All of a sudden, fortune smiles on me. A big wave hits the boat, sending it rocking. The Turk loses his balance. A fraction of a second, and I'm on him. His gun lets off a shot. I ignore it. I don't have time to figure out what it hit. I gather all my strength and head for the hold. The Turk falls like a sack of bricks. That should keep him in line for a little while. Grabbing Emily, I get off the boat. They know where I am, and I have to hurry up and run away. I don't have much time. I have to find a place to hide Emily. If the Turk got to me, it won't take the others long to get here too. These warehouses would be a great place to hide Emily, but they're closed. I have no way of getting in. One of the jetties collapsed. Better not. The Turk might not be alone. And if someone is waiting for him, they'll definitely be at the entrance. These wooden crates seem to contain toy. An abandoned shipyard. It's a good place to hide Emily. The door is locked with a padlock, but it's been partly corroded by salt. If I could find something to use as a lever, I could break it. I was able to get a part of the plate off. By using that piece of metal as a lever, I should be able to break the padlock. One good hit and the lock breaks without any problems. I try to get Emily to enter the shipyard, but she's afraid. I put one of my darts around her neck and I tell her we're playing a game. I'll count to 30, she has to hide, and I'll come looking for her. I'll whistle every now and then with my horn, and she has to do the same when she hears it. I tell her to never come out of her hiding spot because I have to find her. If she hides well, I'll give her a toy all for herself. Emily heads for the shipyard. From her eyes, I can see she didn't buy the story about the game, but she knows she needs to do it. The kid's on the ball. The hole in my lungs was getting worse and worse. It's starting to get hard to even breathe. With my last bit of energy, I head towards the entrance. I get to the outside telephone near the harbour master's office and I call the police. Their intervention won't help much, but at least it will put a lot of people on guard and that will put the brakes on the Turk's friends. Then I call the last person I ever thought could help me, Jack. I cover the telephone with a handkerchief so he doesn't recognize my voice. If he knew it was me, he'd never come. The telephone starts ringing and someone picks up on the other end. It's Jack answering. I make up the first lie that comes into my head to get him here. Halfway through the telephone call, the lines dropped. They cut the electricity in the telephone lines. They're here. I did everything I could, but now all that's left is to wait for the end. And I certainly don't want to do it here. If I have to die, I want to do so somewhere decent with the sound of the waves in my ears and the sight of the moon slashing through the rainy sky. Yes, it's a good place for a goodbye.
Oh, please.
Dannazione! I keep having these dreams. If you can call them dreams. They're so real. The port, the girl, Sean, and then that hitman, that Turk. It all seems to match. How is that possible? How can a dream be so real? How can a dream explain things I don't know? Maybe I'd better knock it off with the questions and get up. I must have slept a couple of hours. That's more than enough for a hardened insomniac like me. Come on, Jack. The night's still young, and there are people out there who would love to see you dead. And maybe one of them is the guy who last night was pretending to be Inspector Ballard. I'd better ask Slavonsky a few more questions.
I suppose I've got to stink by now. He probably stinks too.
Slavansky's Porter Lodge. There's a note. I'm on the 6th floor fixing broken boiler. Better have a little talk with Slavansky.
Why is the boiler on the 6th floor? Wouldn't it be in the basement?
Given how often these radiators work, they're more like pieces of furniture than part of the heating system. Slavansky has covered every inch of this building with posters of incomprehensible Russian movies, shows, and exhibitions. By now, I know them by heart, even though I have no idea what they say. Slavansky sucks. It was definitely the kids from the 3rd floor. The only thing they do besides yelling and playing in the halls is annoy Slavansky with this kind of stuff. Apartment 601. It's the power generator for this floor. It goes out at least once a week. Did you mistake me for... Slavansky's working on the boiler. Slavansky.
I have no time to talk now, Del Nero. I am working on broken boiler.
I have to find a way to keep Slavansky away from that wreck of a so-called boiler.
Wait, how do we still have money?
$5 lousy bucks.
Oh.
I have better things. Have you ever seen a detective walking with an umbrella? Exactly. Better leave it there. No thanks. These pipes look like they're about to burst. Extreme times call for extreme measures.
Damn boiler. Now it's not even making steam. How the hell does it work? How come there's no more steam? I don't touch anything.
Slavansky.
What can I do for you, Del Nero?
Tell me more about the guy you let into my apartment.
What do you want to know?
I have a question.
What is it now?
Did this Detective Ballard have a scar on his face?
How do you know?
It doesn't matter how I know. Did you see a scar?
Yes, he had a long scar on his left cheek. Now that I think of it. What does it mean?
That the man that you let into my apartment wasn't a police detective.
He had New York State police badge.
I can get a badge like that for $1.
Fake badge? I could not know that.
It doesn't matter. It looks like his visit to my apartment wasn't very helpful to him. I have to talk with Victoria, and I should also check the Melville docks. Maybe the guy left some trail. Why isn't...
Problems with boil.
Did you call?
Nah, boiler is...
Until it... Goodbye, Slavonsky.
Goodbye, Del Nero.
Steam's coming from the pipes. It doesn't make any sense to me. I have no intention of walking half. Mackenzie's store was the only drugstore around. Now I have to go halfway across the east side just to buy a pack of smokes.
They don't sell them at gas stations?
Hey, that was Chan's cab. Where the hell is he going? The joint.
See if we can call the
New
cab
York.
company.
The taxi company, please.
Wait a second. Hello, Binkle Taxi. What can I do for you?
It's about...
Ah,
Yep.
what can I...
If you found out that he isn't really missing, but...
Nothing. This guy's the only one with the balls to deal with those thugs in South New York. He could even kill a passenger tomorrow, but no one is moving his fat Mexican ass from his cab. No one else wants his area, so we have to keep him.
Good to know.
Bye.
Hi, Greta.
Jack, I thought you were resting.
I slept enough.
It hasn't even been 2 hours since you left from here.
Right. I think that my insomnia is getting worse. Where did Sean go?
I don't know. I stepped out for a second, and he wasn't in the joint anymore.
Dannazione.
Are you afraid he might go to the police and tell them everything?
It would be a dumb idea, but dumb enough for him to actually go and do it. How's the joint going?
Not good.
It looks like...
Right. It's because of the Great Depression. That's what the papers call it. Banks have... I'd say that the American...
At least,
I barely make it to the end of the month in the
it could be worse. At least you don't spend your nights photographing 20...
Is that...
I'd rather... Let's... How's the girl?
She's sleeping... Did you find...
Nothing yet. About Smiley.
I hate...
Do you know anything about his new job?
Well, he talked to me about it.
Whatever he's mixed up in?
You know him. He's never had a job in his...
He is often at the joint.
Tell me about it. He's here every day. He always gets here at 9 p.m., sits down, orders his stupid blueberry cocktail.
Do you have any idea?
Unfortunately, the slimeball decided he wants to marry me. You know,
That's so like Smiley. I didn't think he had a crush on you.
I'd rather not know it either.
I don't have it. Okay.
Bye,
There's nothing interesting there. I'm not putting my...
Nolera! You again? Didn't go to sleep?
I slept enough. And what about you? Where were you?
Me? I always here.
You weren't here earlier on, not in the pub or out in the street.
Well, I had to move cab from front of pub. Cab cannot stay there.
I didn't think you cared so much about the traffic laws. Anyway, we have to go somewhere.
Where?
The police department, Hoboken.
Whatever you want.
It looks like Victoria isn't there. Maybe the officer on duty knows where I can find her. Hi, officer.
How can I help you?
Do you know where I can find Sergeant Diaz?
Sergeant Diaz is out of town, but don't ask me where she is.
I guess you don't even know when she's coming back.
That's right. So save yourself the trouble of asking anything else. If you really want to know where Sergeant Diaz is, ask Malone. He's the one who sent her out of town.
Dannazione. I'll bet Malone sent Victoria away on purpose. She was the only one who could have helped me. I'd like to talk to Malone again.
Listen, I'm fed up with you. If you want to go talk to the lieutenant, go on your own. You know the way.
Del Nero, you finally decide to give a full confession?
I've received a visit tonight. A guy who claimed to be a police officer searched my apartment.
Don't make up stuff. I didn't order any search.
I never said he was a police officer. I just said that he claimed to be one. The owner of my apartment believed him, and the guy had a nice private viewing of my personal things.
I don't understand why you're telling me this, Del Nero. You aren't dumb enough to think that a story like this would turn my suspicions elsewhere, are you?
I gave up a long time ago on trying to convince pigs to fly.
Careful with what you say and tell me what you want.
I have reason to believe that the person who paid me this visit is part of a criminal organization.
It looks like you have a lot of enemies, Del Nero. I suggest you take it easy with your nighttime visitors. Your ex-partner hung with a rough crowd in Los Angeles.
What crowd?
It looks like Black Lily was on him.
Black Lily? The mob in Los Angeles?
Exactly, Del Nero. It looks like your time in the slammer might not be the worst thing that could happen to
Yeah, the typical choices that life always presents me with.
you. If you want protection, I can offer you a stay in one of our cells.
I'd rather be shot than eat that swill that you call a meal. I've already tried it.
Now the choice is yours.
I have some questions about Sean.
Why should I answer your questions? You haven't thought we aren't in a crime novel. If I find...
If I do nothing, I'll end your threats or...
Provoke all you like, Del Nero.
I was looking for Sergeant Diaz.
Sergeant Diaz isn't here. I thought it'd be better to assign her to a case outside the city.
Afraid that she could help me, Malone?
In the situation you're in, Del Nero, not even the President of the United States could help you. She paid your bail, but that only gave you a few more hours of freedom, nothing else.
Goodbye.
See you soon, Del Nero.
Black Lily was after Sean. It's not as bad as you might think. At least I have a lead to follow now. I need to find some information on this organization. A while ago, I got a journalist, a certain Moore, out of trouble. He was investigating the Mafia in New York. Maybe he'll be able to give me some more information about Black Lily's activities. His number will definitely be in the phone book.